Hi, I'm Lance Humphries. I'm the Executive Director of the Mount Vernon Place Conservancy. Welcome to Flower Mart. Next up, Crimson Clover assembles a spring floral installation. Enjoy.
Hi, my name is Alyse Crumley with Crimson Clover here in Roland Park in Baltimore, and we are a full-service florist here in Roland Park. We offer deliveries, daily deliveries, walk-in services. We do events, weddings. You can buy 1 flower or 100 flowers. We're here to take care of you for that. We have been in business for 18 years here in Baltimore, and I have been with Crimson Clover for going on 5 years now. And today we are going to do a spring floral installation, and we're going to walk you through how we create these lovely large installations. You see them for events, weddings, but also you can do them for birthday parties, baby showers. We're going to show a smaller, scaled down version of that today, how we create that, show you some tips and tricks, the way that we do it. We're going to do a foam-free demonstration today. So we're going to walk through that, show you how we do that and different ways that are recyclable, reusable, and not using any foam today. So let's go ahead and get started with that. So what we use here, as you can see, I've already created a couple pieces. Normally some pieces like this, they take anywhere from an hour to 2 hours, depending the size, to create from start to finish. So I wanted to go ahead and have that started. We have these created with, this one is created with, it is chicken wire, and this is great. It comes on big rolls, and this is easy to create something large, something small, something that's lightweight. So if it's a small event, we can make it for you, or you can make it and then you can install it yourself, because it's easy, it's lightweight. We hang them up with command hooks. We have these sticky hooks if you're doing it on glass. We use different things like the suction cups, lots of different ways that you can hang these. This one is actually hung from one of these clear command hooks. The end is just sitting right on it, and then we use some bind wire, and that's just tied here at the top. And so how we do that is we just take the chicken wire and we fill it with an inexpensive greenery. This is called pistache. It's an inexpensive greenery. It's lush, it's hardy, it's not going to die if it's in the center there. And we take it and we fill it in the center. Cut some of these stems. We have filled the center here to create a fullness and lushness. And that's moldable, it's customizable. You can make a small, tiny little piece, or you can make a big, giant piece like this. And then we also created this piece here that's a little bit thicker. It's a little bit more lush. It's a little bit rounded. We created that using these recyclable, reusable plastic, they're called pillows. And they clip together. I actually clipped this one, there's about 6 in there, to make a big ball. And we used these to just connect them, zip ties to connect them. These are great. These are actually a secret florist tool, I will tell you that. It's zip ties. We use the large industrial size, we use the small itty bitty ones. These are amazing, and they hold up against whenever you're hanging things high. If you get the big, large zip ties, they are amazing for really heavy installations, really large installations. I just took them, we just connect them. So it's easy to use zip ties, and there's about 6 going all around here on this piece. And I did the same thing that I did with the chicken wire, where I stuffed it full of pistache. And the reason that we did that was because whenever we come through and actually stick the design, stick the extra greenery, stick the flowers into it, it's gonna hold it in place. It's gonna make it so it doesn't fall out. Because if you stick something straight up in there and it's just empty chicken wire, it's gonna just kind of fall out, and it's not gonna hold it necessarily. So we do that to keep it in place. This is a good way to still hide it, so it looks more lush, it looks more full, and you don't see through the chicken wire, and you don't see through the full installation piece. So here I went ahead and started putting some pistache in to give it some movement. It was about half the size when we started. So I put some pistache in there. We're going to use some different tropical greens today. We're going to use some roses. One of my favorite fillers, which is called Baronia, and it's long and beautiful. And something like this, we don't want to cut it down. We don't want to force it to move a different way. We want to embrace how beautiful it is and that shape and the draping and the movement that each flower has. That's definitely something that I try to promote in my own designs, but also whenever we're teaching someone how to make an arrangement or big pieces like this, is let the flowers do what they want. Don't try to force them. Just utilize their movement and their curves and all of that. So we'll do that today with the Baronia. And then we're going to walk through, we have some fun carnations and roses. And you might be asking, so there's no water source in here, there's just greenery, there's no foam. So how do you keep your flowers to last? How do you make them beautiful? What is their water source? So for roses and things, like we have these really, really cute, see if I can get them apart here. It's a really adorable straw flower. Something like this, we just put it into a different, a pointed flower water tube. This has a nice point at the end, so it's going to go in really easily. If you have the kind that's blunt and rounded on the end, it's not going to go in quite as easily. This goes in just like a stem. So they have a little point on the end, and we use those to stick that in. So we'll walk through that as well. I put 3, you could put some, if it's a skinnier flower, you could put 3 or 4 at different heights, different levels. That's how you want to do that with those. And then roses, you can put on water tubes as well. If it's a really hot day outside, then you want to put it on a water tube. Something like hydrangea, you want to make sure it's water tubed. Those wilt pretty quickly in the middle of the summer. We will water tube those, and things like tulips or some of your other more delicate flowers, anemones, ranunculus, things like that. We definitely want to put on a water tube and make sure that it has a water source. So then from there, but then there's also other flowers like carnations and some of your fillery things, even like the Baronia, that you don't need to put on a water source. It's going to last, even just like the greenery, it's going to last and be beautiful. So we're going to go ahead and get started and get these going here a bit. We have this beautiful, really long ruscus, Italian ruscus. One of my favorite greens. It's gorgeous and long. It has a lot of movement. I'm just going to stick it in there. Accentuate that part of the design. And something like this, you want to make sure you always cut at a really sharp angle. It's going to help it slide in. And if you do need to reposition it, it's going to help it to slide back out really easily. Wiggle around a little bit. There we go. I want to, with these 2 pieces, I do want to connect them so it looks like they're almost coming together. They're not, going to be completely joined, but they're going to work towards each other and flow together. So I knew when I created this piece that I wanted it heavier over here, and it's going to be a little bit lighter and more asymmetrical on that side. So I'm going to use this piece even twice, cutting it to have some different textures in there. And we're going to, on this side, take this all the way over, long pieces. I'm going to fill in the top here that I have, because right now it's just that blunt end. So I want to give it a little bit softer of an edge. And I'm just sticking this in straight into the chicken wire. And again, all of that pistache that was already in there is just holding everything in. These pieces that are kind of heavy would fall right out if you didn't have some sort of mechanics in there to hold it together, to keep it tight, like floral foam would do. This, you're just using the greenery. Coming in, softening those edges, making sure to cover any of our mechanics as well. The beautiful thing about this is even if you have some stemmy pieces, you can still use this, because in the end, you're not going to see it. Don't overthink, oh, there's an empty spot right here just where I cut that edge. It's going to be blunt. Once we get all the greens in there, all the flowers, you're not going to even see that. Picture this as a whole, and that right there is just filling in and covering that spot. So it utilizes it. It doesn't waste any of the greenery, which is really nice. Grab some more pistache, fill it over here, and then once we kind of get our overall shape, that's where you can't really see mechanics or the bluntness that was created up there. I think I just lost a palm. Let's see here. Fill in a little bit more there. So we're starting to take some sort of shape here. You're not seeing the chicken wire as much. We've got a number of other types of green. This is weeping podocarpus. This one is great for something like this where you want that movement, you want it to feel natural. A lot of times too with these, you want to remember to make sure that it's coming out and also it's flowing down, but it's coming out towards you. You don't want it to be flat and just to feel like it's lost any dimension. So sometimes taking pieces, we throw flowers on the floor here at the shop. It's pretty normal. Pieces and having them coming out at you. It just helps to create some dimension, more texture, and look like a living piece. Do the same over here. I'll use this last couple pieces of pistache. All right. Here to make sure filling in that corner there. Now I'm going to finish off with some more of my rock skips. I've got some really long pieces here. Great, let me get some of mine. Figure out which one's longest for something like this. I want to make sure I go through and find the best, longest pieces, and those will be the tail end, or they will connect here. But we've got some nice movement up here that I like, so I'm going to exaggerate the ends here and just really make that piece even longer than it is than when we started. I'm going to go ahead and have this one there. Sometimes you have to hold the piece and go in just to make sure you're getting it right there, right in tight. And then I'm going to make sure I balance that out on the other side here. Some more draping pieces. Make sure these aren't alone and have a friend that moves with them. He's very exaggerating, I like that. Didn't like it, so I'm going to change it, which is okay. And that happens sometimes. Sometimes you put in a piece and you decide, you know what, it's okay. I don't actually like that piece right there. I'm going to change it. All right. So now we're going to come in. We've got some beautiful tropical leaves. This is Rhodolini. This is great for some more movement. These are also inexpensive greenery that create a big impact for your money, which is awesome for a piece like this. You want to use some nice expensive greenery like the rustics, and then also some more, less expensive greenery like the podocarpus or the Rhodolini if you're creating a large piece. I'm not going to even trim these. These are tropicals. These will last forever. I have had Rhodolini. We've had Rhodolini that in the shop has lasted weeks, like a month or more. And even out of water, using things like tropical leaves just are great for installations because they will last on a hot day. They'll keep their shape. They're amazing. I love using tropical leaves for that reason. We're going into spring, so we want it to feel like we're almost in summer. We're not quite in summer, but almost. It's a little hint of summer. I like to use that for spring, for spring designs. So we're going to fill on the top here. This one I'm going to cut because I just want the end there. I like that movement that the end creates. I'm going to actually repeat that, going down that side there. So that there's just a little bit of movement there. It's not all going the same direction. Sometimes you'll even find other leaves in your tropical leaves. That happens. It's amazing how many times you find leftover leaves in your tropical bunches. I'm going to go around to you, make sure I fill in. At this point, because we also have so much greenery in there now, things are going in so easily, staying exactly where I put them. They're not sliding out, but there's still lots of space because we used either the recyclable pillow or the chicken wire. These holes, they're large, so we can still keep going. I could put so much more, twice the amount that's in there, and I would still have space. But because we have that pistache in the middle, it holds it, which is really nice. Put a couple more to this side, and then we'll move on to some flowers. So it's able to create a nice, beautiful base. This, I could also leave it as is. Add a couple more greens in there, and I would love this. I love a greenery installation. They're beautiful, they're fun. They will last a very long time, but today we're going to use some flowers. So we're going to start with our larger headed flowers first. Right now we have roses and carnations. So we're going to start with those, getting those in there. And let's see here. So I have some roses on the water tubes, but I'm also going to put some of these roses that aren't in water tubes in there. Because if it was a day like today was, we wouldn't have to water tube these because it was lovely. It's in the 60s out. It's gorgeous. My roses are going to go in a little bit deeper than most of the other flowers that I have because they are a little bit heavier. So I do want to make sure that they catch and that they are ready to go. They're not going to fall out, but they're going to stay no matter what else I put in there. So they're going to be a little bit deeper. And with these, you can see some of these roses I have reflexed. And you can do that to your roses. You can also do that to your tulips. I can show you how to do that. So reflexing a flower, you're basically taking it from looking like this to looking like this. It looks more open. It's a way to use a flower that maybe isn't very large and really get the most bang for your buck. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the rose, and here at the bottom of the petal, just take my thumb and push up gently. You want to do this with roses or with tulips that have been out of a cold space. So we keep our flowers in the cooler, but they've been sitting out, they're warm, they're not hard and stiff, so they're a little bit more pliable. So just pushing up with my thumb and bending the top of the petal back. Push up, bend back. And you can do that with things like roses. You can also do that with tulips. Just the same. Tulip, you might have to do it a little bit slower because they're a little bit stiffer. You don't want to break that petal. But it just creates such a different look, and it makes the flower so much bigger. And with tulips, when you do it, they almost look like a tropical flower rather than a tulip. They look like a completely different beast, completely different thing. So this is going to take up more space there than that. Just showing the difference. And tulips, they're going to go straight in. They have a lot of water in their stems, and unless it was an over 100-degree day, you could put tulips in something like this, and they're going to last throughout your event. Most events and most things that you would create an installation for, you need it for 1 or 2 days. And so the flowers, we want them at peak freshness. We want them to look the best for your event, and so we make sure that they're open, nice and big. And then after that, they're going to last a couple more days, but they're already at their peak for the event. So those tulips have nice movement, and they come in. So that with this water tube, it's just going straight in like a stem. And actually, we're going to come in with another shorter one. Balance that out. Just going to go through. See how he's got a weird neck? It's a little crazy. So we're going to embrace that and put it over here on this side, coming out. There we go. Embrace the weirdness of the flowers. This one. And as you can see, sometimes, especially when you have all of this going on, you keep your stems long, and I'm trying to find the chicken wire. Even us sometimes, it takes a moment. I'm gonna find the chicken wire, get it in there, so he doesn't move, and then he stays. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of wiggling. Keep him in there. There we go. And that's also one of the nice things about the chicken wire, especially, is if I press on it a little bit and I need it to stay, I could also reach my hand in there and just squeeze around where that is, so that it keeps the stem in. If I really wanted it in that one spot and it didn't want to stay, I can always make it so that it'll bend around the stem and stay. Okay, this one's up here. Like these up. Balance it out. Last one there. And then, got a couple more tulips. We're going to put all my tulips in this side. With the asymmetrical look, sometimes we'll decide to put all flowers, all of one flower on one side, since it's asymmetrical, and then in the other side. There we go. Stick with one other flower. So in this one, actually, I'm going to do some Beronia, which is my favorite flower, and it's only available right now. It's got a lovely fragrance. I wish you could smell this. It smells like sweet tarts. It's amazing. It's my favorite. Bring that in. Woo. Turn her away. Bring that in. And this is going to create a lot of drama. I feel like that is what Beronia is for, to create some drama. So we're going to come in with this and just embrace that drama. This was a little too dramatic. We're going to split it up. There we go. Oh, yes. I want to make sure that that's following the same curve of this one. At least for this design. Sometimes we don't always do that, but for this design we will. see the stem at the top, you're going to see that beautiful bright pink. So I'm going to use every last bit. The beronia is very hardy, so it would hold up. All right. I'm just going to fill in a little up there, and I'll go on the other side to balance it out with probably a bit less of the beronia than what I have in this one. Weave it through back a little bit. Right there. Works so nicely with the ruscus, the faint flow of the ruscus. Split this one up. And something like this, I'm going to keep the stem very long because I want the end of this, the ends, to end up right about in here. So I know my page is all the way up here. So I'm going to keep it long, go in behind, do a little wiggling, and there we go. And then I'm going to layer that with this one. Move my tulip out of the way. There we go. And there we are. A little bit more of the beronia to this side. A little out. So now let this be just a touch of beronia. And then also we have a couple more types of flowers. So we have the straw flower, and then we have some really fun carnations. And I know that carnations get a bad rap, but look at this color. This is a beautiful pink, and then this one has this crazy two-tone, speckled, looks like confetti, natural. It's gorgeous. Something like these, we're just going to stick straight in. Carnations will last such a long time without any water source. That's one reason why so many people love them. They're used a lot in kind of big installation pieces for their color specifically, because if you just look at a mass of carnations, you're not going to see carnations, you're going to see one amazing color. So a lot of times if you're making a really large installation, carnations are a great way to achieve that without breaking the bank, without spending a ton of money. So we're going to bring these in, and we've got the two different colors that coordinate really well. This color is almost the exact same color as our beronia, which is nice. Is he in there? He's not. There we go. Just bring it in for some depth. I'm going to trim all of these at once because I can stick these in at different levels because we are using the chicken wire. If I want to keep it long, I can. If I want to shove it in a little bit further and make it shorter, I can do that. And I have that flexibility with the chicken wire, which is really great. Typically, we'll do clusters of 3. Not always. There we go. This one, as you can see, is trying to escape. So we're going to move it to a different spot. There we go. If a flower doesn't want to go in, one good way to get it into the chicken wire is just give it a little spin, and then it helps it to loosen up and spin into position. This is a great, so just like there's tricks with reflexing roses, making them look bigger, or tulips look bigger, we can do that with carnations. So not every carnation opens the same time. So a carnation like this that is closed, you're going to take it and pinch the green part that's just right under the petals. Give it a little bit of a squeeze, soften it up, and then just take your fingers and just gently scrape over the top of it, and it's going to open the carnation. You'll feel some pushback if it really doesn't want to, but at least that's bigger, way bigger than what we started with. All right, add a couple carnations to the other side. I'm going to stick on this side just the pink and not the two-tone ones. Come in here and add some color. making sure I'm looking at it from different angles, especially for events. Make sure different angles. So you can see it from different sides, not just face on. Even I'm gonna put some little color at the top for my tall people who can see. But when you step back, if you were looking at this from far away, you'd be able to see that pink. Your eye would catch that. And I'm gonna do one more over here. All right, and then now I'm going to go back in. We've got some straw flower. These are really fun. These do need a water source, so I already put them into 3 into water tubes. And these are going to be like a confetti. They're going to sit out further than everything else. And this one, even this little weirdo that's basically facing the opposite direction, I'm going to embrace it. Let him do its thing. Ooh, there we go. So they're going to come out a little bit further than everything else. So you do clusters of 3 or 4 here. Do get a little tangle sometimes. Find some long ones. My long ones at the top there. Perfect. Some more down in here. There we go. And then the rest over here. You could individually water tube either all of them and have them all come out instead of the clusters. This is easier to do because I like them kind of clustered in 3s or 4s around. Bring this one right there. Alrighty. So I think we're about, I still have a couple more of these. I want to make sure. And like I said too earlier, you want to make sure it's coming also out at you and not just flat up and down. But I turned around and saw this spot that just felt a little flat. So then have these coming out at you. And then these are going to connect over there. Your final ones. All right. So as you can see, we have created an asymmetrical spring floral installation that could be on its own. Each individual piece could be on its own. If you needed something small, we could do that. Or we could cover a whole banner with staircase with flowers and create this in a very large scale, cover your ceiling with flowers. The possibilities are endless because you are custom creating what you want. And so thank you today for letting me show you a little glimpse into what we do and walking you through some of our tips and tricks and the way that we create some pieces. Thank you for going through this with me and walking through all of this. And I want to also thank the Mount Vernon Place Conservancy for inviting us to be part of this year's Flower Mart at home. We were really excited to be able to be part of this and to showcase what we can do, and the fact that we're able to still be part of this even online is amazing. We're really excited for this, for the Flower Mart at home this year. And if you would like to check out more of Crimson and Clover and who we are, and if you wanted to buy an arrangement, buy one flower, we also sell lots of little gift items. We have necklaces, soap, jewelry. We have a shop here in Roland Park. You can visit us at the shop or online at Crimson and Clover Designs. But we just want to thank you guys for letting us be a part of your day, and we hope you enjoy all of the programming for this year's Flower Mart at home, and check out the full calendar on the Flower Mart website. Thank you.